What's going on, guys? My name's Kevin Pheley. This is Thinking Bigger with Kevin Pheley, and today I'm going to do a solo podcast. It's just me. I've got some thoughts in my head that I want to get out and some things that I see a majority of the world sort of sit and deal with, and it's actually the reason why this podcast is called Thinking Bigger. Thinking bigger. Why do we need to think bigger, right? Because the thinking that we're doing now is getting us the circumstances that we want. So if we want something, the thinking that we're doing now is getting us the circumstances that we have, right? Anytime that I've wanted to go out and do something more, anytime I've wanted to go out and do something bigger, whether it's more money, upgrade my office, get a better car, literally anything, I've had to change the way that I'm thinking, right? So if you're going to do something different, if you're going to make a change in your life, you need to change your actions. And before you can change your actions, you need to change your thoughts. So it goes thought, action, result, right? Mixed in with a little bit of patience. So what I want to talk about today is getting out of your own way. Most people are so in their own way, they don't get what they want. Now, David Meltzer is a coach of mine. I pay him. I'm in his one-on-one coaching program where we dive deep on a lot of different things. And Dave's the biggest takeaway I've had from Dave and how he coaches people is he looks at where people are, where they want to go, and what they're doing to interfere in getting between those 2 points. So let's just take the metaphor of you're at a job that you don't like, right? You're at a job that you don't like, you're not making a lot of money, and you're getting nothing from it, and you want to go to a job where you make more money, you're happier, you feel empowered, and you're actually getting like growth out of it, right? So let's just use that for the reference for today's talk, at least for this beginning part, because that's what I think a majority of the world is dealing with. They're in a career, they're accepting it because they believe it's temporary, but the problem is they don't change their thoughts, and for the most part, they don't go out and try to get to that next point. So let's talk about the interference in between the 2 points and what we're doing to be in our own way. So first off, your thoughts control your reality. But before your thoughts control your reality, they control your actions, right? So it goes thoughts, actions, time, change of reality, right? So if you're looking to change your job, you first need to start thinking about what you want. You need to visualize it, right? This is where manifesting, there's a science behind it. You first have to visualize it. You have to get into your subconscious brain, right? When I quit smoking cigarettes at the age of 18, 19, whatever I did, what I did was I didn't just like think I wanted to quit and then all of a sudden I just quit. I had to change the way my subconscious mind believed me to be. I went from believing that I was a smoker to no longer believing that I was a smoker. I now looked at myself as somebody who did not smoke. I did the same thing with drinking. I've done the same thing with a lot of different things, right? There's a YouTuber that I follow who does these kind of motivational videos, and before he started to go really, really big on YouTube, he was a shoe salesman. He sold ladies' shoes at a mall in, I think, Las Vegas or something. And this guy talks about having to change his subconscious belief of who he was. And he said that his YouTube channel didn't take off until he subconsciously believed that he was a YouTuber who shot YouTube videos every single day. And I think that that's really what it takes. So when you picture yourself and you think about who you are as a person, you are picturing yourself as this person who works this job, who accepts this, and this is just how it is. And you've sort of sold off your dreams by accepting that this is how it's going to be. So before you change your reality, again, you have to change your thoughts. So what do you want? Picture the ultimate situation, right? Maybe it's in a different city. Maybe you live in a small town, you want to move to a big city. Maybe you live in a big city, you want to move to a small town. But picture the situation that you want to move to, that you want to be in, right? So picture that job, picture what your day-to-day tasks look like, picture the money that you're making. Think about what you would act like if you were that person. If you were the person that lived that ultimate lifestyle, the one that you're looking for, how would you act? What's your body language like? Do you order the same coffee when you go to Starbucks? When you book a flight, do you book first class? Like, picture and visualize on this. Start to trick your subconscious mind into believing that's who you really are. And what you'll notice is your subconscious mind will start to posture up. Your tone will change. The way people perceive you will change. You won't even realize that you've changed, but you will. Before I started making money, you could not convince me in my head that I wasn't rich. I was so broke. I had maybe $70 in my bank account, but I would go out and act. If you saw me, I would walk in the financial district of Boston at 20, 21 years old, and you would think that I was making bank. But at that time, I wasn't. A year, 2 years later, I was. But I had to first change what I was thinking. Now let's talk about getting out of your own way, because I was in my own way for so long before that. I didn't grow up around money. I grew up around working class people. My parents worked my mom was a nurse. My dad was a teacher. So they didn't have bad jobs, but my parents weren't rich and they weren't great with money. So my mindset was that 60, 70,000 a year was like almost unobtainable, right? This was not even 10 years ago when I thought this. Now, if you were to tell me that I was going to have to live on 120,000 a year, I would panic. It's not enough. Now, I can't even imagine living on that little amount of money. So what was it that got me from being that person who came from a lack mindset, who didn't think this was possible, to now where I am a millionaire? I have a big business. I have a couple businesses. I own small equity portions in a bunch of businesses. I'm buying real estate as we speak. But I just can't tell you like how different my life is now versus how it was before. And it's all because I thought bigger and I got out of my own way. So a couple ways that I did this was, one, I got mentors. First through books, because I didn't know where to meet anybody. You're kind of starting from scratch, right? But I started reading books. I think I read a book by like Barbara Corcoran. I read a book, I don't know. I had moved back to Boston and I was just like, I was so full of energy and I was so ready to go out and make something happen. I had no fucking clue how I was going to make it happen, but I just knew if I go find somebody that has the answer and I learn from them, is whatever that means, right? If I can go find the answer, then I can go probably replicate it myself. Because I knew that there were a lot of people that made billions of dollars and a lot of them came from nothing, right? So why can't I? Why not me? And we all need to have this mentality of why not me? It's usually, no, I can't do this, right? Whenever I talk to my friends and I try to tell them like, dude, you could literally make a small change in your life and your life would be completely different. Their mindset isn't why not me? It's, well, why would it be me, right? Not me. That life isn't for me. And that's what I used to think before too. That's what I was raised in, right? In my family, you go work at the Boston airport for 40 years, you retire and you die. That's it. And my whole life, I knew that just didn't feel right, but I didn't know it was possible until I changed my thinking. So I'm 21 years old, back in Boston, reading as many books as I could. Finally, I took a job at this company in Boston where these two guys that owned a company called Beacon Payments took me under their wing. And this is really when my life started to change like crazy. So first, my thinking changed. Then my actions changed. The way that I carried myself changed. And I walked into a better situation because my subconscious mind already was there. My future timeline was already set up. I just had to change the way that I was thinking. So I visualized all of that stuff before it happened. The life that I'm living now, all visualized. Now, you can't just visualize something and it just pops up and happens, right? It doesn't work like that. You have to put the work in, a lot of work. But it's really easy when you know full proof, full-heartedly, you know that thing that you want is going to happen. It makes the work a lot easier when you have a shitty day, right? But if you don't firmly believe that that's going to happen, then it's not going to happen, because you're going to give yourself opportunities to slide back to that old situation. And I have a lot of friends that have gone through this where they've started to improve their life, but they didn't truly believe that they deserved it. They didn't have that in their mind. They didn't have the find a way. They didn't have the mindset of, why can't this be me? They had the mindset of, it's not me. It's not for me. That's not me. Almost like they don't want it. So I've been kind of ranting here, and I don't know how much sense this is going to make to somebody, but it's so frustrating watching people live these lives that they hate, and they just accept it, and they live these mediocre lives because they're eating sometimes not the food they want, but they're not starving. They're just above complete poverty, but they just accept it. All most people have to do is stand up, believe that they can do it. If they don't have the answer, they need to find the answers. If they don't know where to find the answers, they need to find somebody that has them. So if you want that better job, if you want to leave the job you're at, you want to just get a better job, go find somebody that did that. Get on YouTube. Just go be an information absorbing machine. TikTok, Google, YouTube, courses, books. It's all out there, and it's free or it's extremely cheap. There is nobody in the world that has an excuse not to go live the life that they want. But first, you have to think bigger. My name's Kevin Pheley. If you're not following me on social, please give me a follow. Also, if you're not subscribed to this podcast, subscribe, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you are listening to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Please leave a subscribe and share this with one person. I'm out.
Just a gangster. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster.